So I think in times like this, it's very easy to get caught up and carried away by the details of the human story. And it's understandable because it's so convincing. The ancient spiritual teachers, though, would remind us that why get caught up in that which is transient, that which is always arising and passing away. And I like the English expression, it's a good reminder that this too shall pass. We also learn through meditation that if something is arising, something uncomfortable, even painful, that it is arising so that it can pass on. It's rearing its head so that we can look at it, so that we can pay attention to it. In fact, in a way, that's its function. Its function is for us to pause and give it attention. So its function is to focus our attention. So I think it might be helpful to just remind you that what this world is the manifested realm of story. It's the archetypal energies manifesting as a storyline that gets played out in this physical realm. So that means that every person, every character is playing their perfect part. In fact, the story couldn't be the story without everyone playing their perfect part. And I think the easiest and best analogy is that of a play or a movie. So in the play, it's only interesting to us if it has conflict and adversity. I'm sure you have experienced adversity in your own life, and if you were to pause and take a look at it, you might find that without that adversity you couldn't actually be who you are, and that adversity actually encourages, is an opportunity for a certain resilience or a certain growth. So the antagonist plays their perfect part. And if we were watching a play, watching a movie, we don't forget that the person playing the part of, say, the antagonist isn't the part, right? We don't, the next time we see the actor in a commercial or at an awards show or something, we're not thinking they're bad and evil, even if they had played a bad, evil character in the movie or the play. So to have this and apply it to our experience here in this world, in as we play in the human story, in the human play, that would be holding the cosmic perspective. That would be aligning your vision to God's vision, to true vision. So I was sharing with a new friend the other day the story of my friend and my client Tom, and I'm using his name because he's given me permission to, and I probably have before in these conversations, and he's on my YouTube channel. And it's a great story because at the time when I started my work, I didn't know what I was taught in that session. What I mean is that I had thought that part of our experience here in this realm as these, magnificent spiritual beings inhabiting these physical bodies and playing these funny, quirky, interesting parts, that part of it was, or the underlying goal, I guess, was to evolve, to return to love, out of which we were born. But what I learned out of this session with Tom is that actually not all of us came here to evolve, to return to love here in this experience, in this lifetime, because they already are love. They already are, and we all already are fully formed souls. And I know that we often use the language of old soul, but it's just an appearance. Actually, there's no such thing as an old soul. We're all old souls. It's just really a matter of what part we're playing, what energies, what archetypal energies are we bringing forth through our physical existence. So in this session, Tom at the time was going through a stressful patch. He was going through an ugly separation with his wife, and it was causing some stress. And so he was coming in for a session really to just experience, peace. Tom is what's called a somnambulist, and a somnambulist is someone who naturally goes very deep into trance and generally doesn't remember the details of the session. They might have impressions or lingering memories, I guess, but it's not complete. It's not clear. And so I asked him if he would want to talk about his wife and that experience. And at the time, and so Tom, if you're watching this, I don't know if you remember, but he didn't want to. He said no, and he swore. And he said, I don't want to give any energy, any time to her. And I'm paraphrasing. But my response to that was, I can understand that, but actually it's hurting you. And so it's you I care about. It's your peace that I care about. And so let's see, let's find out what is her purpose. What is this for? And how could this possibly be helping you actually? So he agreed, and sure enough, he goes quickly into trance. I think he was exhausted. And so a part of the infinite consciousness came through, and even at the realm of infinite consciousness, there are archetypal energies that come through that also. So the infinite wisdom can appear kind of as form in the etheric realms through our mind. It's kind of like telepathy. And so I can't remember who came through. It might have been Gabrielle. I can't quite recall. But when we asked, so what is the purpose? What is the purpose of this character, this adversity, this conflict in his life? The higher self started laughing actually, and said, "Oh, he's forgotten. He's forgotten their friends actually, and they love each other." And so she volunteered. She volunteered to play this part for him so that he could experience it. So he could experience it. And so through the experience of adversity, we get to feel what it feels like when we judge, when we attack, when we have forgotten that they're playing their perfect part. So the perfect part is really creating the opportunity for us to be what we truly are, which is the unconditional love from whence we came. And that's why it's so painful. It's so painful for us when we judge and attack. Because in that moment we just disconnect from our true nature. So it's easy for the ego to do that. It's easy, and it's kind of delicious from the ego's point of view. But the ego is vested in this inherent belief of separation. So it delights when you do follow its untrue thoughts and its untrue stories. So if your greatest antagonist, whether it's in your personal life or in your community life or in the greater world life, is antagonizing to you, how could it be that they're playing their perfect part for you, actually? How could that be that they're being that for you to give an opportunity for you to actually be yourself? And for you to realize and feel what it feels like, how painful it is when you forget who you are and choose your fear-based egoic thoughts over the truth. Over the truth. So what would it be like then to see them as you would the actor on the stage? Seeing that they're playing their part perfectly. And if they're really pushing your buttons, again, whether it's a personal relationship or whether it's more of a global one, if they're pushing your buttons, then they're doing a good job. They're doing it right. They're actually playing their part with integrity and in a way that you probably asked them to, from a part of yourself that you've forgotten. So somehow this is all working for us, giving us opportunities for us to be ourselves, to come home to what's true, to what's true now. What's true now, not in an imagined future, not in the past that's over, that only exists as images and pictures and thoughts, sometimes sounds in your mind. You know, even those images and those pictures and those sounds that you might be experiencing as a memory pertaining to the past or as an imagined future are still existing now in your mind. They're still happening now. So what's actually happening now? And if we truly, deeply, intently use our powers of focus to pay attention to the now, we'll find that what's here is this incredible, abundant, natural, unconditional loving support. And that credible, abundant, unconditional, natural, loving support we experience directly through the earth, through nature, which supports and sustains this life. So what your body is an effect. It's an effect of the earth. That your physical body can't exist without her. And so she provides us, we've talked about this in the other conversations, she provides us with the medicines, right? So when we seek, so let's talk just briefly about the overlay. So the earth is following an incredible intelligence, an incredible wisdom that it would behoove us to get to know, but we don't. You know, naturalists do, the indigenous people do, but modern culture has gotten further and further away from the natural laws. And so as a result of that, there's, that's really how far away we have come from our nature, and our relationship with the natural world is directly proportional to the mess that we're finding ourselves in this human story, in this human play. So the natural laws are really more true laws than the man-made laws that have been created to control the human story or to give some kind of order through the story. And so those human laws are really just born out of the egoic state and out of a state of disconnection, fundamental disconnection. So the laws of the overlay are the human laws, the man-made laws, and the man-made systems, and then the man-made infrastructure. It's all an effect of human mind and human intent and human doing, which again comes from an inherent place of disconnection from nature. So what's more useful for us, what are greater, more important laws for us to pay attention to and to get to know are the natural laws. The laws of nature, the seasons, the animals, the elements. And this wisdom comes through the Eastern healing arts. But what I really want to get to is that then there are even more truer laws than that. The truer laws come from the wisdom, the power, the force, the unconditional love that created this natural world in the first place. And these laws are the true laws. And these laws are God's laws. So I guess why I'm bringing this up is because this is an opportunity for you to check in and make a decision about which laws do you want to align yourself to through your own intent, through your own will, through your own energy field and energy body. What's important to you? This is an opportunity to really pause and ask yourself what's important to me. Because right now, the archetypal energies that really rule the human story at this time, it's the human story, are the archetypes of the conqueror, the colonist, the imperialist. And that archetype has its sidekicks, I guess. And the sidekicks are the spellcaster, the shapeshifter, the trickster, and so we're being seduced. We're being seduced by stories. We're being tricked. We're being turned on our heads, and it's interesting, and And the effect of that is it's kind of like going into the ocean and then being caught up by the undertow and then being tumbled by the waves, and just not knowing what's up or down, or not knowing what you can trust. And so that's why I wanted to take the time to go through the laws, because that's what you get to ask yourself. What laws, what energies, fundamental to my nature, to myself, do I wish to know, align, trust, and live by? So, so I found myself in a conversation with a friend of a friend, on social media, and 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 so one of the things that I was saying is that so there's a lot of dissonance with the storyline of the virus. And if you've watched any of my previous conversations, you know I've already played with it, right? I hardly ever use the language because I don't want to give it any energy or attention. I've told you stories about where we disarmed it in our own, me and my friend, disarmed it in our own consciousness. By making fun, and it's not in any disrespectful way to the impact that this virus has had. I'm not downplaying it. It's just simply that there is another perspective, and there is power in not giving it more energy than it needs, because there's something that I cannot unknow in my journey as the reluctant mystic, and that is that true healing is in the forgetting. And it may be very difficult for some of you to hear this, but if we all literally chose joy, chose to give all of our conscious attention to whatever it is that gives us joy, we gave all of our attention, this moment, this moment, this moment, this moment, this moment, gave all of our attention only to that which gives us joy, or that which brings peace, or that which evokes love, it would cease to exist in our reality. It would cease to exist in our reality. But enough of us have hooked into it, into our consciousness, and allowed it to stay here, because, as I said in meditation, if something is arising, it's here to pass on. It's not here to stay. But somehow, for some reason, collectively, it's important to keep it for now. But just know that you're keeping it. You've made that choice on some level of your consciousness to keep it. So anyway, I entered into this conversation with a friend of a friend on Facebook. And what I found myself writing in response to this was that, our mind has so much power. And when something new, something novel comes in, we have to integrate it into the human story, into the human experience, to let it integrate into every aspect of our being. And so, for example, I remember when commercial airline travel was new for us. I remember you used to, if you're old enough to remember, which I am, we used to get dressed up in our best clothes. You didn't go on a flight wearing, your sweatpants. No way. No way. You got dressed up. It was a thing. And, people talked about air sickness. And to that, there were, vomiting bags in the pocket of every seat. And that's because this was new to the human story. And so we hadn't quite digested it. We hadn't quite metabolized it. We hadn't quite integrated it. And so literally, it made some of us sick. And so when something novel comes in, it can make some of us very sick. But it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. And so there's so many ways that we can take our power back. And I do want to say that just within the context of this human story that's being that the spellcaster is feeding us right now. So it's a bit of a, let's see, how I get, sometimes I just see images in my mind and I have to translate it into English. So we're being hoodwinked. And so in the name of safety, you're being provided something that you think will keep you safe, when in fact you're already completely safe. It would be like, yeah, I don't know, somehow you're completely safe and you have this feeling that you need to be rescued. So you reach up to be rescued. Actually, it's reminding me of the story that I told one time in another video a long time ago about the bird who ended up landing in the shit. Anyway, it didn't end well for the bird, is what I'm saying. Maybe I'll bring that up another time. But it doesn't end well for the bird. So the bird looks to get rescued because it thinks it needs to be saved. But actually, it was perfectly safe. It was perfectly fine. It was warm in the shit. It was happy there. And all it needed to do was just pause and just wait, because eventually the shit turns to dust. Eventually the shit becomes nothing. But she didn't. She looked out to get help, and help when she didn't need it, and it didn't end well for her. So I think what I wish to share in this video, and I'm taking the time. I feel this is so important to take the time, is that actually what you are, not only the physical body, but every aspect of you, every aspect of your nature is so incredibly wise, so incredibly intelligent, and so geared towards wellness and wholeness, that if you could only have faith and trust in your own, and remember your own ability to be able to be strong, to be resilient, to be healthy, to be whole, you wouldn't be so easily seduced by what's going on. And so what I was going to say is that, yeah, we're being hoodwinked under the guise of this, oh, I'll keep you safe. Here, take my vaccine. But I want you to know, if it really was about public safety, if that was really true, if the powers that be really were vested in your health and well-being, really, if we were to really look at it, and if we're really looking at all the features in the overlay, I'm telling you, smoking, I was saying this to this friend, smoking would have been banned 50 years ago. Smoking is a killer. Why didn't they ban it? Secondhand smoke, why don't they ban it? It's well documented that our food, the food industry is making us sick. The fact that McDonald's even exists, the fact that Coca-Cola as a liquid, as a beverage even exists. But you don't even know. You don't even know because you don't think about it. But do you think eating McDonald's and smoking a cigarette and drinking Coke is contributing to your body's vitality? Yeah. So as a natural healing professional, there are other ways to befriend your body's inherent intelligence, to create the right conditions to support the environment for resilience, for health, for wellness. There's so much you can do. So much. My invitation would be to learn these things, to learn what you can do. Because you don't need to be waiting around. This is part of the spell casting, that you're waiting around for an invasive, biologically altering, not supporting, it's altering, right? You're hoodwinked. Biologically altering technology. So when you're a natural healing practitioner, what you can't unknow is that man-made medicines are crude medicines. And the most sophisticated medicines are actually meditation and prayer. And so I have direct experience of that meditation and prayer are powerful, powerful medicines, the most powerful of medicines, because there you're working with the subtle energy fields. You're working with the pre-manifested state. And at the pre-manifested state, where are their problems? Because it precedes the storyline. So if you want to heal the storyline, you need to connect with and vibrate to become a vibrational match to the pre-manifested, which is possible in meditation. So this is a play. This is a game. So just ask yourself, how do I want to play? And how can I best be myself moment to moment? What gives me joy? What lights my heart? What makes my whole body smile? And I bet the answer to that is not masking up, is not being sequestered in your home, is not being able to eat at a restaurant or go to a concert. I bet it's none of those things. So your job is to really get to know thyself. What are my true, real values? What are they? Which laws do I want to align myself with? God's laws? The laws of nature? The laws of this planet? Or the laws of this man-made overlay? I hope you can feel it. And if you can't, that's okay too. But again, we're just going to remember that even if it's tricky, even if it's confusing, hard to really, really grasp at this time, just know that everything's happening exactly as it should be, exactly on time, and everyone is exactly where they should be. And everything that happens and everyone who's playing their perfect part it's happening that way, and they're being that way just to communicate truth to us so that we can remember who we are, what this is, the truth of it, which isn't stressful. It's peace, because peace never leaves. It's always here. It's just a thought away. All right, my loves. This video is enough for 3 days. Coming up to 35 minutes, my goodness. Well, anyway, until next time.